one thing that this society teaches a lot of us is to look at the external, especially the first impression external. And from this external first impression, decide whether or not you want to make a long-term commitment. So we're going to take something short-term that's external and extrapolate from that whether or not we should make a long-term decision. This is why it's so much turnover in many of our businesses, because you're taking a short external first impression and trying to make a long-term decision. Some people are just great at first impressions, but not so great at commitment, not so great at handling conflict, not so great at collaborating with others, not so great at being introspective and trying to figure out how can they get better so that they can improve their relationships with others. Then we look at relationships. We do the same thing. We see something, and a lot of this we can't help, but a lot of it we can. And that's why it's important that we listen to other people and their perspectives and try to see through the charisma people may bring. Because there's certain speakers and talkers that, man, I love him. I connect to him. He speaks so well, or she speaks so well. And we connect to that, and we don't see that they may be a charlatan, a fake, a fraud, somebody that's pseudo. So that's why developing our intellect is important. Developing our ability to debate and develop arguments is important, so we can see when someone is lying to us or presenting a false image before us and asking us to accept this false image as true. So back to what I'm saying, when we're dealing with relationships, we can't forget that society is telling us that make a first impression. First impressions are everything. Make sure you dress the part. So we get in these relationships based on this external first impression. Oh, she is beautiful. Oh, he is. Oh, girl. You know, we do all this and we speak to them, and they may have that charisma that I just talked about. Then we get into the relationship, and the very thing we fell in love with, this external charismatic person, and that's gone. Because when it's time to have an argument and discuss our different perspectives and worldviews, when those different perspectives and worldviews come in contact with each other, that charisma goes away. That veil that we put over this person, it goes away, and we can see, you know, who this person really is and how they handle conflict. See, this is what I connect to sports, because that's what you're seeing. When you're looking at professional sports, you're seeing high stress conflict. That's what you're watching when you're watching professional sports, and how people handle these high stressful situations and conflict, because this is happening in sports at a high rate. And so you're looking at how well they trained, not only their bodies, but their mind, and how to deal with it, and how they collaborate with their teammates and fix their problems. So when you're watching sports and you hear people talking about, well, this coach didn't make good adjustments, so this player didn't rise to the occasion, they're talking about their past training, not only with their bodies, but with their minds, and also how they're able to work with those with them to figure out a solution that will help them overcome all of this conflict, stress, and obstacles. So when you get into relationships, that's what you're actually viewing. How in the past this person has developed their mind to work with others during high stressful, excuse me, how they're able to deal with high stressful conflict. And those that are not used to dealing with others during their own inner conflict are not going to perform well with others while they're actually dealing with conflict too, or when both of you are in conflict. So adapting this philosophy of, I'm just going to look good on the outside, I'm going to talk the part, does not help us when we get in our relationships. And that doesn't matter if we're talking about a business relationship or an intimate relationship. It doesn't matter. We cannot take a short-term external thing and extrapolate from that whether or not this long-term relationship will work. It doesn't work like that. We need to stop teaching that. First impressions are not everything. It's going to lead to disasters and high turnover rates that we see in our marriages and in businesses. And I also want to say this. Just because me or somebody else may be speaking on this does not mean we have the ideal relationships personally or business-wise. People that have experienced failures are some great people to talk to. There's no one person that has all of the answers. There's no one person that has this perfect personal life, this perfect relationship, this perfect business. People have conflict. People have failures. They're unsuccessful. But the ones that are able to learn from those failures and things that are unsuccessful are people that are resilient, that you can learn from. Those that just complain and stay down, they are not. And some people just are not good communicators, but are great at what they do. And that's okay. There's something that can be learned from every person. And that's why developing your mind and your intellect is important, so you can discern these things. What's important? What's not important? What's relevant? What's not relevant? That's just my heavy thought on love, relationships, the external and first impressions.